power, fight down our halo.
Hey, what's going on, guys? You got Tone here, bringing you my Week 5 Team Builder and Battle for Season 3 of the IBL against my good friend Eric, aka Heavy Metal Pokemon, and his Denver Rapidash, mostly known as the Colorado Mammoth Swine, but he went old school, bringing back his old logo, so just run with it. So we're coming off of a win against Deebs and his Orlando Mudkip, so we are currently 2-2 on the season. Eric is coming into this match at 1-3. So as you see, there's Eric's team on the screen to your right, and you see he has some very scary threats. Jirachi, Togekiss, Terrakions an issue, Suicune is problematic, Heliolisk, Alola Marowak can prevent my Thunders from clicking Thunderball all the time, Umbreon can sponge on special attacks, Alolan Muck can be problematic at times, but I do have responses. Gourgeist can be a somewhat pain, blocking my Starmie's Rapid Spin, and Kecleon can pretty much be anything, but I'm not too worried about Kecleon, to be perfectly honest. Considering what his team is, I think, well, for my prediction, I expect him to bring Jirachi, I'm expecting the Terrakion, the Suicune, the Heliolisk, and the last one's kind of a toss-up. He could bring a Alola Marowak, he could bring a Alola Muck, he could bring Togekiss if he's not that worried about my Scolipede, and Flygon is also a possibility. So with all that being done, all that said and done, I'm just going to run over the team that I brought in this battle against Eric. So first Pokemon you see here, we have Caltrops, the Ferrothorn, rocking the exact same set as last week. The only difference is different berry. Last week I brought Aqua Berry, this week it's Chobo Berry for that Terrakion, so I can take a close combat or an all-out pummeling, as Terrakion is one of his Z-Mons along with the Jirachi and the Flygon. So I can take an all-out pummeling if need be, go for a Gyro Ball. If he doesn't have Fight EMZ, I can just knock it out with the Gyro Ball after close combat. So EV spread, max the investment, my HP and defense investment prevents me from being, I avoid being 2-hit KO'd by a choice banded Flygon Earthquake, and the rest is put in special defense to take on the Heliolisk, the Togekiss, stuff like that. So Pokemon number 2, we have Navi the Clefable here, Soft Boiled knockoff Moonblast and Flamethrower. I really debated between Magic Guard and Unaware. Unaware would help me against Calm Mind Suicune, but considering that I did have other responses for Suicune, I wasn't that worried. So I switched it back to Magic Guard, Soft Boiled knockoff Moonblast Flamethrower. Moonblast with Flamethrower hits a good majority of the team, and knockoff is just there to get rid of potential items, all that good stuff. My investment allows me to live. I avoid being 2-hit KO by a Life Orb, Heliolisk, Thunderbolt, or Hybrid Voice, and the rest is put into defense to take hits, physical hits better from stuff like Flygon, non-poison jab Terrakion, stuff like that. So that is my Clefable set. Next up, once again, Inanna is bulky Starmie. Skull, Thunderbolt, Rapid Recover with leftovers, enough speed to outspeed Heliolisk, which is its fastest Pokemon, non-Choice Scarf. I debated between Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Toxic, but it was really the case of whether I wanted to give Flygon a free switch in, whether I wanted to be more weak to Suicune, or try to poison the Suicune, but if he's Crocune, it doesn't really matter because he can just rest. So, figure go for Thunderbolt just for the damage. I could Scald Burn potentially the Flygon, so it's not that big of a deal. Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards and recover to keep itself healthy. That is pretty straightforward. Pokemon number 4 here, we have Susume Bachi, our Nidoqueen. Again, rocking the exact same spread, the exact same EV spread as last week's battle. I mean, the moveset, Stealth Rock, Toxic, Ice Beam, Earth Power. The EV spread is just a lot different. The investment here allows me to the 28 EVs and special attack and a modest nature. What it allows me to do is I guarantee I take out a Heliolisk with Earth Power after a round of Life Orb damage. So that way I'm not so reliant on getting up my rocks, because it's possible he's not even going to bring Stealth, Life Orb Heliolisk. An Ice Beam plus Earth Power gives me the best neutral coverage against the entire team. I struggled a little bit with the Suicune, but I don't think I have other ways to deal with Suicune, so it's not that big of a problem. So that is my Nidoqueen set, and the mostly just I'm all over the place. 12 speed lets me outspeed Adamant Max Speed Marowak, Alola Marowak if he does bring it. The rest is put into defense to take hits better from Terrakion, Flygon, so I'm not overwhelmed by Earthquake, and Jirachi non-Zen Headbutt can't overwhelm me too. And 4 special defense because nowhere else to put it. So that is my Nidoqueen set. Pokemon number 5 now, we have Centikill, the Scolipede with Sword Stance, Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Earthquake. Once I get rid of his Pokemons, basically the Suicune, Scolipede can put in a ton of work with some hazard support. SD helps me break past Suicune. If it's weakened enough, I can kill it with a Mega Horn. Poison Jab hits that Togekiss, and Earthquake pretty much hits everything else on his team, the Jirachi, the Terrakion, stuff like that. Have to run Jolly, have to be faster than that Heliolisk. Sword Stance makes up for the lack in power from losing out on Adamant. 12 HP, give me an odd number in HP, and 4 defense special defense because nowhere else to put it. So this is one of my late game sweepers. And my second late game sweeper is my Thunderous T, Agility 3 attacks. Pretty straightforward. Agility, Thunderbolt, HP Ice for that Flygon. And Dark Pulse hits his Alola Marowak for super hit the damage, as well as hitting that Gourgeist if he does decide to bring it. Running max special attack, max speed, so I can be faster than a non-Scarf Jirachi. After an agility, I outspeed pretty much his entire team after an agility boost. I do have to be worried about stuff like wearing down his Umbreon, stuff like that. So that is going to be the team that I am bringing. This team builder is very short, but it's sweet and to the point, which is, I know you guys like short team builders that doesn't go too much into detail. So, so with that being said, I'm going to switch over to the battle. So, alright guys, so here we are with my week 5 battle of the IBL, going up against Heavy Metal Pokemon and his Denver Rapidash. So, see the team he brings. He brings Jirachi, Terrakion, Flygon, Suicune, Gourgeist, and Heliolisk. A little bit surprised about the Gourgeist, but I guess he was just kind of afraid of me spitting away hazards with my Starmie. But, and to be fair, Gourgeist does take a hit from Scolipede and whatnot, just in case he wants to burn me with Will-O-Wisp. So, all that being said, I decided to lead off. Looking at the matchup here, I felt as though my best lead was Starmie, because if you let Jirachi, I could potentially burn with Skull. Terrakion, same thing. Flygon, same thing. Suicune, I have Thunderbolt for. The only bad matchup is if he leads over Gourgeist or Heliolisk, to which I do have a dedicated response to both. For Gourgeist, I have Nidoqueen and Clefable, and for Heliolisk, I have Nidoqueen as well. So, without further ado, we are going to start the battle here. So, I kind of debated my lead a little bit, but I felt pretty confident going into this, leading off with my Starmie, because it does have a matchup against 2/3 of its Mons, so he is going to lead off with Ender, which happened to be his Jirachi, and I'm going to lead off with Starmie, as I already mentioned. So, judging by the lead matchup, so my idea, just to try to get up a Skull, get as much damage off as possible. I'm sorry about that. So, go for the Skull, I don't get the burn, he gets his rocks up. I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine, I can spin him away later. If he goes on to Gourgeist, that's a little bit problematic because I can't touch it. So I'm going to go for Skull one more time, trying to get a burn here, and getting off damage on this is nice, because it definitely puts it in range of Scolipede's Earthquake. But I don't get the burn, he gets a U-turn off, and that does a hell of a lot of damage to my Starmie. And he's going to U-turn right out into his Gourgeist. which is bad for me. So I'm pretty much forced to switch out here, as I can at least try to get a recover off on the Suicune and Rapid Spin later on in the battle. So I'm going to switch out here. Can't stay in. I'm going to go right into my Nidoqueen, probably predicting like a Will-O-Wisp or something. So I can take that Rock's damage. He does go for Will-O-Wisp and he misses. So it kind of would have been mitigated because of the Black Sludge recovery. So he's going to switch out here, fearing the Ice Beam. And he's going to go hard into his Flygon here, as I really should have went for Ice Beam here. But I decided to get my own Stealth Rocks up here. But at the same time, Stealth Rocks hurt me more than it hurts him. And he did make a ballsy play going directly into Flygon on the Ice Beam. Probably predicted me to have Flamethrower, but I'm going to go hard into my Clefable here just to see what he's going to do. But he's going to U-turn right out, so I'm probably thinking this Flygon is Choice Scarfed or in some manner. It didn't look like Choice Banded damage, so he's going to go right back out into his Jirachi here. So I'm pretty much in a pretty bad spot with my Jirachi. I didn't want to go into Ferrothorn because, based on the fact he was U-turn, I didn't want to go switch into Fire Blast because Ferrothorn is my response to his Terrakion as I'm Trouble Berry. But he's going to pull a double into his Heliolisk this turn. And I'm going to switch out myself because I do not want to stay in on a Jirachi in the first place. I believe I went into my Starmie. Yeah, I did go into Starmie here, trying to either sack it off to a U-turn or try to get a recover off and try to go for Fire Punch. But now I can't stay in on his Heliolisk. He has some momentum on his side. So I'm forced to switch out once again and have something take Stealth Rock damage again. So back into my Clefable here just as a pivot. As he does, we'll go for the Dark Pulse this turn, thinking I would stay in. Now I don't know whether or not his Heliolisk is Scarf at this point either. He could be double Scarf, I'm not sure. But I had a couple of options here. I could have went for a knockoff, I could have went for a Moonblast, but he decides to go directly out into his Gorgeist, and I'm going to click knockoff here just to get rid of the item, whether or not he's like a Choice Scarf variant or whatnot. But so I'm going to go for knockoff here. It's not going to do that much damage, but getting rid of his passive recovery is nice for my Scolipede for the late game. So after the leftover recovery, I'm going to stay in and click Flamethrower because I kind of lose nothing by doing so. So I get my Flamethrower off. I'm uninvested, but still has a decent chunk of damage here, as he's going to go for the Seed Bomb, and as you're going to see from this damage, that's not going to do much to my Clefable, and it's most likely a physically defensive Gorgeist based on the damage it took from that Flamethrower. So I'm going to click Flamethrower again here, as he's going to go hard into his Suicune this turn and take the Flamethrower, no problem here. Now, I did mention in my team builder that Calm Mind Suicune was a pain in the behind, especially considering that my Clefable is not unaware it is Magic Guard, and that Flamethrower is going to do absolutely nothing. So instead of going hard into my Thundurus here, I decided to go hard into my Starmie for two reasons. One, if you guys decide to go for Scald, I don't mind being burned because I'm Natural Cure, and two, I can at least get a recover off or rapid away these hazards. So I'm going to switch out into my Starmie here, trying to do just that, but he does predict me and he goes for the Roar, which forces out my Starmie and unfortunately forces in my Nidoqueen this turn, which puts me in a very, very bad spot. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to go back into my Starmie here after Suicune gets a leftovers recovery. I get my Black Sludge recovery, and hopefully he doesn't click Roar again. So my idea was to go into Starmie, potentially take a Scald, but I don't think I would have, considering that I switched into Stealth Rock damage 3 times now, and I'm definitely not going to take a Scald if he went for it. He does go for the Scald, and unfortunately that's going to pick off my Starmie. So rocks are up to stay on my side of the field. Suicune kills my Starmie. But this does give me a free switch into my Thundurus, and trying to get a, not really a sweep going, but I need to try to force this thing out here. So considering I have the type advantage, I'm just going to set up an agility here as he decides to stay in. And seeing as though he was leftovers, he's not he wasn't Rakanberry, so I'm assuming he would have went for Roar and be ballsy enough. But he decided to stay in and Scald for a good chunk of damage. He doesn't get the burn though, which is great because I'm Life Orb, and I didn't want myself to be limited to the amount of hits I would take. So I'm just gonna fire my Thunderbolt here as he does decide to sack off his Suicune to the T-Bolt. I get a crit, but the crit didn't matter. And pretty much one of the most problematic Pokemon on this team is gone. So in comes his Flygon. I know I am faster whether or not he is Choice Scarf because I'm at +2 speed. So I'm going to fire off an HP Ice on this Flygon. He was not Yachi Berry, so this HP Ice is going to take out the Flygon. So we're back in control here. We are up 5-4 here. I still have enough health for 2 more Life Orb hits, but he's just going to go out to his Gourgeist and pick me off with a Shadow Sneak. He had no other reason to make this play. I can't switch out because I died of rocks on re-entry. So unfortunately, my Thundurus is going to go down here to the Shadow Sneak, which is perfectly fine though, because with his Suicune gone and his Gourgeist weakened, it's looking more and more likely that Scolpy is going to clean up late game. So I'm going to go into my Nidoqueen here and just pick off this Gourgeist with the Ice Beam. And with Gourgeist out of the way now, if I get up a Swords Dance on the Jirachi, barring it's not like a Thunder Wave set, like Stealth Rock Thunder Wave, Scolipede can easily pick off the rest of his team with Earthquake, as he has no EQ switch-ins. So here you're going to go into his Terrakion here. I kind of want to stay in and go for an Earth Power. At the same time, I was predicting him to go for a Earthquake just to gauge the damage. So he reveals the Earthquake, and it's going to do a decent amount of damage to my Clefable. Now here's a play I was debating the entire time. Since Terrakion is one of his Z-Mons, I was debating about going hard into Ferrothorn to Poison Z. I didn't do that, risking the fact that he couldn't have been Poison Z, but alas, he was Acid Downpour, and I'm kind of kicking myself here because I deliberately had Ferrothorn for the Terrakion, and I decided to not go into Terrakion on a pretty obvious Acid Downpour. I let my Clefable drop for absolutely no reason, and I am so sorry to my Clefable because she didn't deserve that. She did not deserve she didn't deserve the drop like that. So now I go hard into my Caltrops here. I'm just going to click Gyro Ball because even if he goes on to Jirachi, I get some chip damage off on that. So he's going to withdraw. He's going to go out into his Heliolisk this time. I was expecting the Jirachi as I can't really touch that thing. But any damage off on this Heliolisk is also nice too, because it better puts me in a position for Scolipede to clean up. And that Gyro Ball is going to do a ton of damage. So now I'm going to switch out and go back into my Nidoqueen here just to see if he does go for the Thunderbolt to try to get some momentum with Volt Switch. So he does go for Thunderbolt here. Kind of a questionable play because I had Ferrothorn, but to each his own. And because of that play, I get to see if he was Scarf or not. The way he switched out makes me believe he was. I get to click Earth Power for free because he has no ground switch-ins like I said earlier. So he decides to sack off his Jirachi here to the Earth Power. So Nidoqueen's picking up its second kill of the battle. But despite that, it does give him a switch-in back to a Terrakion. He doesn't click Earthquake all over again. I could have went into my Ferrothorn this turn, but I decided to risk it and stay in because I did even my Nidoqueen to take at least one Earthquake from a Terrakion. As you're going to see, my Nidoqueen is going to eat that up. Nice, nice, nice. I want to go for that nice and powerful Earth Power. I am modest with a little bit of special attack investment, and that investment is going to pay off as Terrakion is going to drop to the Earth Power. So that's 3 kills for the Nidoqueen. And all he has left now is this Heliolisk that takes a Stealth Rock damage. So I'm just going to stay in and click the Earth Power again. I don't really lose something by going for it. And he goes for the Dark Pulse here. Hopefully I do not get flinched so Nidoqueen can clean up And my homegirl, Susume Bachi, is going to pick up the final kill in the game. So that is going to be a 3-0 win for the Maine Red Clawitzers. And we are going to come away, and Nidoqueen is going to come away with 4 kills in this battle. So putting in that work is my Nidoqueen, and Thunder is picking up 2 kills, picking off the Flygon and the Suicune. So this game was pretty fast, considering that we didn't really take much time in our plays. That you saw what I did with the with me not thinking over the Poison MZ, Terrakion, and sacking off Clefable like that. Could have been a 4-0, but who knows. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. Good game to Heavy Metal Pokemon and his Denver Rapidash. We are now on a 2-game winning streak. We are now 3-2 on the season. We are back on top of our division, which is very nice. Also paid to be very consistent because our first 5 battles have ended up being 3-0s. So that's also pretty funny to think about, but nevertheless, I hope you guys did enjoy this battle. If you did, feel free to leave a like and a comment in the section down below. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and hopefully you continue to cheer on your Maine Red Clawitzers as we are about to hit the midway point of the season. So week 6 we take on Thomas and his Los Angeles Elgiums. I was definitely looking forward to this battle. It's a divisional battle, so very important that we come away on top in this match as well. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and that's going to be it from me. Until the next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone, and I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Later!